Descent of the Demon God. By Hanjo Wiolia. Chapter 179. The Record. Part 1. Tak. Tak. Hu Bong descended into the pit with Becky, Mun Ranyong, and the fainted Sea Lord. Did you let your target escape? Yes. All three were surprised to hear that Chen Yuan had let the man escape, because he was known to never let his enemies live. Of course, it was ambiguous whether or not the old man actually was an enemy, but he certainly had more power than any person they met thus far. Lord, what's this blade? Becky asked while pointing to the blade Chen Yuan had left behind that was made of a black, iron-like metal that wasn't from earth. Chen Yuan gently touched the blade with his fingertips. Shoo! I can feel the sword's strong energy. Perhaps, in order for the blade to attain its full potential, it needed to absorb and embody good qi, but this wasn't the right place for that to happen. This blade seems to be trickier than the White Dragon blade. The White Dragon blade was Chen Yuan's best blade. Since it was cut off from the horns of a white dragon about to ascend to the heavens, he considered it a sacred treasure. He obtained it by accident, but luck played a huge factor. I'll check this out later. Shoo! Chen Yuan opened the Shadow Realm and kept the blade in it. Mun Ranyong and Hu Bong were familiar with the Shadow Realm, but Becky wasn't and looked at it with curious eyes. Chen Yuan closed the shadow and looked around. The place was full of boxes, seemed like a warehouse, and had dust all over as if no one ever visited this place. Is something hidden in here? Chen Yuan pondered the words that the old man said. Did he know what Chen Yuan was looking for? He was curious, and to resolve his curiosity, he would have to check this place out. I'm alone. He found out from the fight with the third guest that this place was wider than he had imagined. Moreover, it had several floors. However, there was something peculiar about this wide structure. In terms of energy, he couldn't feel any external presence. I want to take a look around this place, so the three of you should search the other floors and find out what they were up to here. Is it fine to leave this woman here alone? Mun Ranyong asked, looking at C with intense eyes. Since this woman had used Mun Ranyong's husband's body to live, Mun Ranyong wouldn't hesitate to kill C. Sick. Whoa. Chen Yuan put his hand down, and three naked men with identical faces appeared. Oh my. Mun Ranyong blushed at the sight, which made Hu Bong grumble. Honey, turn around. The naked men were all clones of Seogi that were ghosts with physical bodies. They were similar to elites hidden in the shadows, as they also didn't have identities. They'll watch over her. Yes. At Chen Yuan's words, the three subordinates moved to other locations and began to search. Once they left, Chen Yuan ordered the clones to refrain from any physical contact with C and went to inspect the warehouse. Nano, scan. Scanning. Chen Yuan held out his hand as a red laser beamed out and scanned the place. Using Nano's ability would be exponentially easier than manually searching for any clues. BRRR. Chen Yuan's eyes trembled as augmented reality activated in his vision. In augmented reality, dots moved around to show the surroundings being scanned. Inside the boxes seemed to be documents and some old technology. Why hide them here? There wasn't anything worth hiding in here that he had found yet. All of the information was displayed by the scanning, and there were no other doors aside from the east side door, so Chen Yuan had to think outside the box for clues. If it isn't at the surface, it would most likely be below. Chen Yuan put his palm on the ground. Beep. Beep. A red cross appeared in augmented reality, showing the location where numerous boxes were stacked. Shoo. When Chen Yuan held out his hand, the boxes were pushed aside and the floor underneath them was revealed, and initially there seemed to be no signs of anything being hidden. However, there was one sign. There are traces of construction. At first glance, the floor didn't seem different from the other floors, but Nano was able to see the differences in its texture and color. Chen Yaon grabbed a sword and drew a circle in the ground. Tear. When the ground was cut by the invisible sword, the floor was pulled out along with the pillars stabilizing it. So thick. The pillar was around 5 meters in height, but the height of the opening was too small, so he had to slice the pillars and then lift them up. Because the slabs he had cut were so thick, when Chen Yaowen descended, he realized that something had to be down here. Should I go down now? Chen Yaowen pulled out a slab and entered the hole. After passing through the tunnel-like hole, a dark space appeared. Weak. When Chen Yaowen ignited a fire with fire qi, the dark space lit up, revealing a spacious environment. Since the place had been blocked out for so long, there was a musty smell that filled the room. There didn't seem to be any opening for air to move, so if ordinary people came, they would have had a hard time breathing. Shoo! Chen Yaowen raised his hand, causing the wind to rise and the dust to blow in from all directions in an instant. It didn't take long for the dust that was displaced to coalesce into one huge form of pure dust and filth. Once the dust was removed, he could clearly see what was inside. Machines? The entire place seemed to be filled with machines. There were many unusual mechanisms, starting with white machines with boxy square monitors and vacuum tubes with no connections. Nano, do you see the time pack? Chen Yaowen looked around as he asked Nano. Chen Yaowen knew what the time pack looked like. He couldn't search for it all alone in this confusing area. The time pack isn't in this space. Nano concluded that the time pack wasn't there. Looking at the old machines, Chen Yaowen mumbled. What is all this? Cannot be determined definitely. The result of the scan shows many vacuum tubes that are connected, appearing to be some form of a supercomputer. Supercomputer. It was literally a computer, unlike regular ones. It was a high-level computing machine. Can you turn it on? Chen Yaowen asked while touching one of the tubes. The next words from Nano were very shocking. As a result of analysis of the components of the computer, it is difficult to operate it now as this machine was manufactured 400 years ago. 400 years ago? Computers didn't exist 400 years ago itself. But this one was made? Nano. If the information you sent me is right, then the computers were built. The production of the first computer, known as Mark I, was in 1944. The first supercomputer ENIAC, however, was produced in 1946, 2 years later. The information hidden here could overturn history. However, what was even more shocking was the supercomputer's performance speed. The computing speed of this device is about 8.0 teraflops. A 1 teraflop processor could perform 1 trillion operations per second. The MS Group had the technology to outperform such a processor by a factor of 400 years prior. Anyone involved in academia would have been surprised at this information. Is this even possible? It was now impossible for Chen Yaowen to know the true strength of MS Group. To have computing power at the teraflop level is impossible with this number of connections. In addition, several complex future technologies are part of the machine. Beep. 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 Nano pointed out the red crosses on various machines. It was absolutely impossible to achieve such a high level of performance with such simple tubing, meaning that this was only possible with help from the distant future. Chen Yaowen's expression darkened. For some reason, it felt like he was getting close to something. Musong Company. Chen Musong. MS Group was formerly known as Musong Company. When he heard the name from Huan Hiao, he thought it was just a coincidence, but he realized it was much more than a coincidence when he arrived at this sector when he cracked the TQC code and teleported to the encrypted coordinates. No matter how much he thought otherwise, there was definitely a connection between MS Group and Chun Musong. What the hell happened to the supercomputer? Since Nano couldn't operate it, Chen Youwen had no information regarding the supercomputer. Chun Musong clearly informed all three of his subordinates that he would leave behind an item that would help Chen Youwen return to the past. However, all he found was a supercomputer that he couldn't access. Phew. However, the moment he began to feel frustrated. Beep. In the augmented reality, which was still open, Nano signaled something on the ground. When Chen Youwen approached it, he saw that there were several pieces of glass on the ground. There were a total of 5 pieces of glass, and 3 were broken while 2 seemed intact. What is this? This is a carbon glass image storage device, known as TVM. What? It is a video recording device, developed in 2906. Chen Youwen narrowed his eyes. His descendant, Chun Musong, had traveled back in time from 2940. However, since this video recording device was made around that time, it was more than likely that it came from Chun Musong. Nano, can you see information about this too? Yes. Since it is a semi-permanent storage device, if the TVM isn't damaged, the media can be relayed through augmented reality. At those words, Chen Youwen smiled. He had finally found a clue. His only disappointment was that not all of the 5 glasses were fine, but he couldn't be too sad because at least 2 of them were undamaged. Show me. Place your hand on the TVM. Following Nano's instructions, Chen Youwen put his hand on one of the TVMs as a red laser flashed from his palm to scan it. The TVM has many cracks, which damaged most of the footage. What now? When he looked closer, there were quite a few scratches, but considering that the other TVMs were broken, it was natural for something to have happened to these 2. Any restorable data from the video will be played. Eventually, Chen Youwen's field of vision changed as he recognized a sight in the video. Chick. Chun Musong. It was his descendant. Unlike the first time he saw Chun Musong, this time Chen Youwen found the beard and clothes of the Murim of the past strangely unfamiliar. Chun Musong was sitting and filming himself, stroking the beard a few times before opening his mouth. Video record number 421. December 9, 996. The time is 11 p.m. This video was created 1083 years ago. Looking at the number 421, it seemed that the broken TVMs contained the videos he had made prior. I finally helped Becky hibernate after he memorized the last TQC code. If this all goes well, I'm sure that ancestor should meet them around 2079. Chun Musong was recording his daily routine like a diary. Chen Youwen focused even further on the video. One concern is that the hibernating people and their locations will probably receive some form of shock or disturbance in the future, and if something goes wrong and they end up getting hurt, then ancestor might not receive the time pack. Sigh. Chun Musong frowned, as if his mind was in pain. He seemed to have prepared something for Chen Youwen, but had some doubts about whether it would actually work. He thought for a little longer and said, I think I should prepare for any contingencies. Click. The video was cut off and the next one started playing. Video record number 422. December 23, 996. Time is 8 p.m. I was told that Miss Mun Ranyang lived a long life by taking the blood of Qilin, so I will try to replicate her longevity. Tack. Chun Musong held what looked like a small gourd in his hand. This holds the blood of flame Qilin. Using it should increase my life expectancy, but this refined blood is so strong that many people have died taking it. Considering its uses in the past, this is a huge risk. No, honestly, I'm pretty scared. Chun Musong put down the bottle and spoke. I plan to take blood on the first day of the new year. If I don't make the next record, then you can consider me dead. I hope I can record more. Click. The video stopped, making Chen Youwen wonder if the next video would play. Other videos cannot be played due to the damage done to the TVM. Do you want to read the records on the other TVM device? Phew. Chen Youwen sighed. Only 2 short records from the past had survived, so the rest would only be more unsettling. Play it. He had to confirm his thoughts. Nano finally scanned the last TVM and then... Click. Chen Musong appeared again, but he was different from before. Judging from the red hair, it seemed like he had managed to control the blood of Flame Qilin, but he looked like he was in his mid-50s. Video record 3021. 1699, August 20th at 5 p.m. The update of the supercomputer is proceeding smoothly. It's only in teraflops, but with this level of computational power, it is likely to be able to support an AI. AI? AI stood for artificial intelligence. If an AI can be supported, the supercomputer which I named Demon God can self-update and expedite the development of space and time movement devices. Click. Chen Musong ended the video with a smile, but Chen Youwen frowned. Supercomputer Demon God? That man named the supercomputer with Chen Youwen's title. He thought it was odd, but he managed to find the important fact through this TVM technology. He was developing a space-time movement device? The reason for creating the supercomputer was finally revealed to Chen Youwen. Through the supercomputer, Chen Musong was developing a space-time movement device to replace the time pack, but Chen Youwen couldn't figure out why he was creating it if the time pack was just fine. Would it be used for Hubong, Mun Ranyang, and Becky? Or would it be for Chen Musong to return back to his own time? The next video then played. Click. However, Chen Musong's face looked very exhausted. Judging by the wrinkles on his face, it seemed like even more time had passed. Cough. Video record number 3087. March 15, 1728 at 11 p.m. Cough. I am gradually losing weight. It seems like I've caught something strange, but with the medical information I currently have, it's impossible to know for certain what's wrong with my body. Blood trickled down the corners of his lips. It was clear that the body condition was deteriorating from that alone. Did the energy of the spirit blood run out? I have no way to find out. Cough. I guess I should study how to heal my own body. Click. When the video ended, another continued, but Chen Youwen's face darkened as he saw it. Chen Musong's face was pale as if he had no blood running through him. The now dangerously skinny man opened his mouth with much difficulty. Video, record, number 3092, February 19th. 10 om. I am surviving on drugs, but there seems to be a limit for it. In order for advanced development I should, Chen Musong exhaled in a long and raspy manner, speaking while biting his lip. For a year, I spent all my time digitally recording my brain. I don't know if this will work, but I am trying to update the brain records into the supercomputer Demon God's AI. Chen Youwen frowned at those words. What does this mean? Chapter 180. The Record. Part 2. Chen Youwen was at a loss for words after watching that. He became well versed with technical jargon after Nano transferred the knowledge of the present era. However, he still couldn't understand what Chen Musong was saying. Nano. Pause it. The video has been paused. At Chen Youwen's command, Nano paused it. Nano, did you understand what he was saying? Yes. If what I understood is correct, it seems his brain was converted into information like a computer file and overlays on the AI of a supercomputer. Am I right? You have understood it correctly. Chen Youwen was taken aback at Nano's answer. His descendant decided to abandon his own body and transfer his mind into a computer. In a sense, it might be a way to overextend his life, but in reality, it was cloning his mind. Phew, let's see it through first. Alright. Nano continued to play the video. Then, Chun Musong continued to speak with difficulty again. If that happens, I will become one with the supercomputer demon god, for the development, and to continue to operate, the organization, will be, HAAA. Organization? Chun Yoan was confused. If he was right, then there was a high chance that Chun Musong was running the Musong company. Or, to be more specific, we could say that the AI copy of his brain was running this organization. This ends the recording of video 3092. Chun Musong's eyes were red, and he was choking while speaking. His face was pale, haggard, and red as he burst into tears. Chun Musong groaned as he spoke. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I am scared. It seemed like he was afraid of being sick and dying. His eyes were clearly full of fear. When I close my eyes, it is terrifying to think this is the end, it hurts so much, Is there really anything like the afterlife? Or is it just void? It seemed like he was slowly accepting reality. Even Chun Yoan couldn't hide the bitterness at it. In a way, it was like watching his descendant who helped him suffer like this. Chun Yoan sighed. In this video, Chun Musong kept repeating the words of not wanting to die. While listening to his descendant's agony, Chun Yoan heard someone else's voice. Commander. Ah? The crying Chun Musong was taken aback upon hearing the voice immediately ended the video. Click. The video was not playing anymore. Nano. Are the other ones damaged? There is no next video. That was the last one. Last? The video he watched was the last. The video ended weirdly to call it a proper end, and it wasn't known if the descendant died or if the AI was a success. This is... Chun Yoan sat down and sighed. He was unsure. The hidden time pack was still lost and only expected information was obtained again. Then, is the MS group an artificial intelligence cloned from Chun Musong's brain? That was what the video said. But the more he thought, the more perplexed he became. If that was true, the cloned brain had to be of Chun Musong. Then Jongso came from behind? What was the real purpose? In the memory of D, one of the 10 members, their goal was to create a god. But the MS group's AI was of Chun Musong, so the goal had to be of his descendant. Come to think of it. He didn't recognize me. If the AI was Chun Musong's, he should have recognized him. However, MS Group didn't know Chun Yoan at all. Even the executives, or the voices, called him with his fake name, Chun Musong. There is definitely something happening. Considering this, it seemed like not everything went as planned. According to the record, it is a video of 1730. It is said that 339 years have passed since then. What the hell happened in between? Something was obviously missing. Otherwise, the MS group wouldn't lose their initial purpose and do such bizarre things as creating a god. Sigh. There was no point worrying further. If this was the case, the only way to know is to meet the head of MS group. Shoo. Chun Yoan put the TVM into the shadows. Then heard Hubong's voice in his mind. Lord. I discovered some strange machines here, all of which exploded and broke. What? This is? Following Hubong's attempt to explain were Mun Ranyong's words in his head. Bong bong, I'll tell the Lord. My Lord. The monitor screen here is saying. Omission of report. Suicide sequence, in English. Hubong couldn't understand it since it was written in English. Mun Ranyong normally shouldn't have known the language, but she learned it when she was acting like a secretary. Upon hearing that, Chun Yoan's expression hardened. Omission of report? Suicide sequence? What was this? Huang. At that moment, a loud roar and an intense heat wave were felt from above. It was an explosion. There wasn't even time to stop it. TCH. Shoo. Chen Yuan moved through the place. As he appeared at the point of the explosion taking place. In the midst were Becky, Hu Bong and Mun Ranyong. Lord! They all shouted when they saw Chen Yuan. However, their voices were covered by the loud explosion. Shoo! Woong! When Chen Yuan waved his hand, an intense wind pressure created a vacuum that could withstand the heat and flames. Thanks to that, the three of them were able to escape from there. Ah? Stay close to me. Why yes. Woong. As Chen Yuan raised the ghost chi from the wrist guard on his right hand, the ghost of Yi came out. To Yongchen group. Upon receiving the command, the ghost spread the arms open. Then the three people, along with Chen Yuan, were sucked into space. At the same instant, the vacuum was released, and the place exploded as Chen Yuan released his grip. Huang. Same time at Yongchen Group's senior management meeting room. Chen Wu-jin, Chen Yu-jiang, and the other executives were all in the meeting room and couldn't hide their shock at the four people who suddenly appeared there. Chick. Steam was rising from the bodies of Becky, Hu Bong, and Mun Ranyong. Hu Bong murmured as he rubbed his slightly scorched hair. Phew. I almost turned bald again. Hu Bong, who now had long hair, had been bald before due to an unfortunate accident. Seeing the three of them like this, Chen Yu-jiang asked. What happened? Ancestor. Chen Yuan answered with an annoyed expression. A troublesome thing. He couldn't bring back C from there due to the explosion, and he lost 3 precious clones of Seogi. The situation didn't give him any other choice. If Chen Yuan had been a little late, the trio would have suffered injuries. A space filled with machines. The heart of the machines were numerous monitors with screens displaying zeros and ones. Something was engraved on it. Disappearance of the first. Lost start. Among them were a few English letters on the largest screen. No more time. Activate the process of making God. Lord Chen Ma. By Mac Hien, came to Chen Yuan with a smartphone. Who? Chen Yuan was a bit pissed, because things didn't go his way, so Bai Mac Hien cautiously said. Your disciple. Ha. The disciple was Ark Young. Chen Yuan was the one who had forgotten that he said to Ark Young that he would pick him, but then he went to get the time pack. Disciple? The room was then filled with whispers. Hearing Bai Mac Hien's words, the executives were all shocked, because this disciple was of Chen Yuan's. Not caring about them, Chen Yuan answered the phone. Ark Young. Teacher. Have you arrived at Lake Baikal? Before going for the time pack, Chen Yuan asked Ark Young to go to Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal was a southeast city that wasn't far from where Ark Young was stuck. However, Ark Young's reaction was off. Teacher. There is a huge problem over here. Problem? I really feel like you should come to see this for yourself. A loud noise was coming up. It almost sounded like something was burning. What? Same time. Near the west of Lake Baikal in Russia. Red lights were shimmering around Ark Young, who was currently holding a smartphone. The reason he was surrounded by bright red light, even in the middle of the night, was simple. Bubble. It was because the place Ark Young was looking at was full of lava, where there should have been a blue lake instead. How do I say? In the middle of this lava-filled lake, there had to be Alcon Island, the sacred site of the North Sea Ice Palace, which Chen Yuan talked about. However, this place was so hot that it was impossible to even get near the lake.